The morning sun rose over Colony World Hanbit 7 like any other day. Dae-ho Kim stood on his front porch, watching the golden light spread across the green fields. His wife Hye-jin was already awake, preparing breakfast in their small kitchen. The smell of coffee and rice filled the air. Hanbit 7 was home to 50,000 humans. Most of them were Korean families who had volunteered to leave Earth 20 years ago. They wanted to build something new among the stars. The planet was beautiful. Rolling hills covered with earth crops stretched as far as the eye could see. 3 small moons hung in the pale blue sky. Dae-ho was the colony administrator. He had served in the Earth military for 15 years before coming here. Now he spent his days making sure everyone had what they needed. Clean water, enough food, working power systems. It was peaceful work. He liked it better than his old job as a soldier. "The harvest report is ready," Hye-jin called from inside. She was the chief medical officer for the colony. Every morning she reviewed the health reports from all the settlements. "Dr. Min-ho says the northern farms are doing very well this season." Dae-ho smiled and walked back inside. His wife was reading from her tablet while stirring eggs in a pan. Her black hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore the same blue medical uniform she had worn for 10 years. At 42 years old, she was still the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. "Good news about the harvest," Dae-ho said. He sat down at their small table and poured himself coffee. "Woobin says the security reports are all clear too. No problems with the weather stations or the communication arrays." Woobin Lee was the colony security chief. He was a big man with kind eyes who took his job very seriously. He made sure all the equipment worked properly and that everyone stayed safe. In 20 years, the biggest emergency they had faced was a broken water pump. "So Young called this morning," Hye-jin said. She placed a plate of eggs and rice in front of her husband. "The new grain varieties are growing faster than expected. We might have enough surplus to trade with the other colonies this year." So Young, Choi ran the agricultural operations for the whole planet. She was a smart woman who could make anything grow. The colonists sometimes joked that she could grow tomatoes on a space station if she wanted to. Dae-ho was about to reply when his communication device beeped. He looked at the small screen and frowned. It was an urgent message from Min-ho Jung, who managed all the communication systems for the colony. "Strange readings from the orbital sensors," the message said. "Large objects moving toward the planet. Request immediate review." Dae-ho stood up quickly. "I need to check something at the command center." Hye-jin looked worried. "Is everything okay?" "Probably just a supply ship that came early," Dae-ho said. But his military training made him nervous. Supply ships always sent advance notice. They never just appeared. The command center was a 10-minute walk from their house. Dae-ho found Min-ho staring at multiple screens with a confused expression on his face. "What do you see?" Dae-ho asked. Min-ho pointed at the largest screen. "3 ships just came out of hyperspace. They are big, much bigger than any human ship I have ever seen. And they are not responding to our communication requests." Dae-ho felt his stomach drop. In 20 years of peaceful colony life, they had never encountered alien ships. Earth had made contact with several alien species, but none of them had ever come to the outer colonies. "How big?" Dae-ho asked. "Each ship is about 2 kilometers long. They have technology we do not recognize. And, sir, they are moving directly toward our main population centers." Dae-ho grabbed the emergency communication system. "This is Colony Administrator Kim. All security personnel report to your stations immediately. This is not a drill." On the screen, The three massive ships began to descend through the atmosphere. They were dark gray with strange symbols carved into their hulls. Energy crackled around them as they moved through the clouds. "Sir," Minho said, his voice shaking. I'm receiving a transmission from the lead ship. Put it on the main speakers." A harsh, alien voice filled the command center. The words were translated by the universal communication system that all human colonies used. "Humans of this world, I am Commander Vengeful of the Vakith Empire. We have come to collect specimens for the glory of our people. You will not resist. Resistance will result in death." Deho felt ice in his veins. Specimens? What kind of specimens? His question was answered quickly. The alien ships stopped above the three largest settlements. Bright blue energy beams shot down from the ships, but instead of destroying buildings, the beams created some kind of scanning pattern. "Sir," Minho said, reading from his instruments, "the energy beams are scanning all human life signs. They seem to be looking for something specific." Deho activated the colony-wide communication system. "All residents, this is Administrator Kim. We are experiencing an alien contact situation. Please remain in your homes and stay calm. Do not go outside." But even as he spoke, he could see it was too late. The energy beams from the alien ships began to change. Instead of just scanning, they started to pull things up from the surface. Not things, people. On his security monitors, Deho watched in horror as women across the colony began to float up into the air, surrounded by blue light. They were being taken right out of their homes, off the streets, away from their families. "Ye-Jin," Deho whispered. He tried to call his wife on his personal communicator. There was no answer. Wu Bin burst into the command center with 20 security officers. All of them were carrying the small energy weapons that were standard colonial defense equipment. "Sir, they are taking the women," Wu Bin said. "Only the women. All of them between about 18 and 35 years old. The men who try to help them are being killed by some kind of plasma weapon." Deho ran to the window. He could see one of the alien ships directly above the main settlement. Dozens of women were floating up toward it, trapped in blue energy fields. Some of them were screaming. Others looked unconscious. "We have to stop this," Deho said. "Sir, our weapons cannot reach that high," Wu Bin replied. "And when people try to interfere, the aliens shoot them with energy beams that cut them in half." Deho watched his world fall apart. In less than an hour, the aliens had taken 847 women from his colony, including his wife, including So Young and dozens of other women he had known for 20 years. The alien commander's voice filled the air again. "Human males of this world. Your females possess genetic markers that are valuable to the Vakith Empire. They will serve the glory of our warrior caste. This collection is complete. Do not attempt to follow, or we will destroy your pathetic world." The three massive ships rose back into the sky and disappeared into hyperspace. They left behind a colony of broken men and a few hundred women who had been too old or too young to be taken. Deho stood in the empty command center, staring at the screens that showed his devastated colony. Bodies of men who had tried to fight lay in the streets. Children wandered around looking for their mothers. Old women cried for their daughters. Minho was the first to speak. "Sir, what do we do?" Deho turned to the long-range communication system. His hands were shaking as he began to record a message to Earth. "This is Colony Administrator Deho Kim of Hanbit 7. We have been attacked by aliens calling themselves the Vakith Empire. They have taken 847 of our women. Many of our men are dead. We need immediate help." He paused and looked out the window at his broken world. And we need someone to pay for what they have done to us. 3 weeks passed before Daho's message reached Earth. The signal had to travel through 17 relay stations across human space. Each day that passed felt like a year to the survivors on Hanbit 7. On Earth, President J1 Seo was having breakfast with his family when his emergency communicator buzzed. He was a tall man with gray hair who had led humanity for 8 years. His job was usually about trade agreements and colony funding. Nothing had prepared him for the message he was about to hear. "Sir, we have an urgent transmission from Colony Hanbit 7, his aide said. "The colony administrator says they were attacked by aliens." President J1 almost choked on his coffee. "Attacked? By who?" "Unknown aliens called the Vakith Empire. Sir, they took almost 1,000 human women." The president's face went white. He stood up immediately and walked to his office. His wife and children watched him leave with worried expressions. They had never seen him look so frightened. In the Presidential Command Center, President Jae-won gathered his top advisors. Admiral Kyung-soo Han commanded Earth's defense fleet. He was an old soldier with scars on his hands from the colonial wars 20 years ago. Intelligence Director Yoon-bi Nam sat beside him. She was a sharp woman who knew more about alien species than anyone else on Earth. "Play the message," President Jae-won ordered. Daeho's voice filled the room. He sounded tired and broken. He told them about the 3 massive ships, about the energy beams that took the women, about the men who died trying to stop it, about his wife Hye-jin being taken along with 846 other women. When the message ended, the room was silent for a long moment. "How many ships do we have that can reach Hanbit 7? The president asked. Admiral Kyung-soo looked at his reports. 12 warships, sir. Maybe 15 if we pull some from the inner colonies. But if these Vakith have ships 2 kilometers long, our vessels will not be able to fight them." Intelligence Director Yoon-bi was reading from her tablet. Her face was getting paler with each page. "Sir, I need to show you something. We have received similar reports from 6 other colonies in the past month. The attacks all follow the same pattern. Large ships, energy beams, taking women between 18 and 35 years old." She put a map on the main screen. 7 human colonies were marked in red. "Over 8,000 women have been taken from human colonies. We thought the other reports were just pirates or slave traders, but this is something much worse." President Jae-won felt sick. "What do we know about these Vakith?" "Very little, sir. No human has ever made contact with them before. But I have been reading reports from other alien species. The Vakith Empire controls about 200 worlds. They are a warrior culture that believes in genetic superiority. They think other species exist only to serve them." Chief Military, Strategist Tae-min. Oh spoke up. He was a quiet man who rarely talked unless he had something important to say. "Sir, if they are taking our women for genetic experiments, we need to act quickly. Every day we wait is another day those women suffer." The president called for xenobiologist Young-hee Kang to join the meeting. She had been Earth's lead expert on alien contact for 15 years. She knew more about alien cultures than anyone. "What would the Vakith want with human women?" President Jae-won asked her. Young-hee looked uncomfortable. Based on what we know about similar warrior cultures, they probably want to use human DNA to improve their own species. Human genetics are very adaptable. Some aliens think that makes us valuable for breeding programs. Admiral Kyung-soo slammed his fist on the table. Breeding programs? You mean they are using our women like animals? Possibly worse than that, Young He said quietly. If they are doing genetic experiments, many of the subjects will not survive the process. The Vaketh probably see human women as test subjects, not people. The room fell silent again. President Jae-won thought about his own daughter, who was 23 years old and working on a colony near the Outer Rim. How many ships does the Vaketh Empire have? He asked. Intelligence Director Yunbi checked her files. Our best estimate is around 2,000 warships, sir. They have been building their fleet for over a century. Each ship is much larger and more advanced than anything we have. So, we have 200 ships total, and they have 2,000, President Jae-won said. And their ships are bigger and stronger than ours. Yes, sir. In a direct military conflict, we would lose badly. President Jae-won stood up and walked to the window. He could see the city of New Seoul below him, millions of people going about their normal lives. They had no idea that thousands of their daughters and wives were being tortured by aliens in space. Sir, Admiral Kyung-soo said, we could try diplomatic contact, maybe offer them something they want in exchange for our women. What could we offer them that they cannot just take? President Jae-won asked. Technology, maybe? Or access to more colonies? Young-hee shook her head. The Vaketh do not negotiate with species they consider inferior. To them, we are just a source of genetic material. They will take what they want, until we stop them. As if the universe wanted to prove her point, President Jae-won's aide rushed into the room. Sir, we just received another transmission. This one is not from our colonies. Who is it from? We are not sure, sir, but the signal is very weak. It sounds like it is coming from inside Vaketh space. They put the new transmission on the speakers. The voice was female and human. It was also very frightened. This is Dr. Hae-jin Park, Chief Medical Officer of Colony Hanbit 7. If anyone receives this message, please know that we are alive, but not for long. The Vaketh are keeping us in holding cells on a research station. They are taking groups of women every day for experiments. Most of them do not come back. The voice paused. They could hear alien sounds in the background. The experiments are not just breeding programs. They are trying to extract human DNA and combine it with their own genetics. The process kills most of the subjects. They do not care. They have thousands of women from many different colonies. We are just test subjects to them. Static filled the transmission for a moment. If Earth is listening, please do not try to negotiate. The Vaketh do not see humans as people. They see us as resources to be used. They will keep taking more women until someone stops them. They must be stopped. They cannot be reasoned with. They must be... The transmission cut off suddenly. President Jae-won felt anger burning in his chest. These aliens had taken human women and were torturing them to death in the name of science. They saw his people as nothing more than animals to be experimented on. He turned to face his advisors. How long would it take to mobilize every warship humanity has? Admiral Kyung-soo looked surprised. Sir, even with every ship we have, we cannot win against the Vaketh Empire. How long? President Jae-won repeated. 6 months to gather everything and prepare for war. Then we have 6 months to figure out how to win a war we cannot win. The president looked at each person in the room. The Vaketh think we will accept our losses and move on. They think we are too weak to fight back. They are wrong. Intelligence Director Yunbi looked worried. Sir, this could mean the end of human civilization if we lose. Then we will not lose, President Jae-won said. His voice was cold and hard. They made a mistake when they took our women. They made a bigger mistake when they started killing them. Now they are going to learn what happens when you hurt humanity. He walked to his desk and activated the communication system that connected him to every human colony and ship in space. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies. 3 weeks. Ago aliens calling themselves the Vengeful Empire attacked our peaceful settlements. They took over 8,000 of our women. They are using them in deadly experiments. Many are already dead. He paused and looked out at the city again. The Vengeful believe we will accept this loss. They believe we are too weak to fight back. Today I am here to tell them they are wrong. Humanity chooses war. The day after President J1 declared war, every human world began to change. Peaceful colonies turned into military bases. Scientists stopped their research projects and started building weapons. Farmers left their fields to join the Earth. Defense Fleet on Mars. Chief Engineer Gunwoo Park received orders that made him smile for the first time in weeks. His wife had been taken from Colony New Busan 2 months ago. Now he finally had a chance to do something about it. Build weapons that can kill aliens, the orders said. No limits on budget or resources. Make them pay. Gunwoo gathered his team of engineers in the largest factory on Mars. The factory had been building mining equipment and transport ships. Now it would build instruments of war. We need to understand Vengeful technology, Gunwoo told his team. Every alien species has weaknesses. We need to find theirs. His assistant, a young engineer named HFY Kim, brought him files from Intelligence Director Yoon-bi. Sir, we have sensor readings from all the colony attacks. The Vengeful ships use a specific type of energy shield, and their weapons operate on electromagnetic frequencies we have never seen before. Gunwoo studied the data for 3 days without sleeping. His team worked around him, running tests and building prototypes. On the 4th day, he found something interesting. Look at this, he said to HFY. He pointed at readings from the Hanbit 7 attack. The Vengeful energy shields flicker at regular intervals. For exactly 0.3 seconds every minute, their shields drop to recharge. That is not very long, HFY said. Long enough, Gunwoo replied. And look at this. Their plasma weapons create a specific electromagnetic signature. If we can build weapons that operate on the same frequency, we might be able to overload their systems. Within a week, Gunwoo's team had developed new weapons specifically designed to kill Vengeful. They called them Fury missiles. Each missile could detect Vengeful energy signatures and would explode with electromagnetic pulses that could destroy alien ship systems. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Kyung-soo was facing his own challenges. He needed to turn farmers and teachers into soldiers. He needed to build a fleet that could fight enemies with superior technology. Elite pilot HFY Kim was one of his first volunteers. She had lost her sister on Colony Bright Star. She was small and quiet, but when she climbed into a fighter ship, she became something else entirely. I want to learn how to crash my ship into alien vessels, she told Admiral Kyung-soo during her interview. That is suicide, the Admiral replied. They killed my sister, HFY said. If I can take 10 of them with me, it is worth it. Admiral Kyung-soo realized that many of his volunteers felt the same way. These were not professional soldiers looking for glory. These were people who had lost family members and wanted revenge. They were willing to die if it meant hurting the aliens who had taken their loved ones. Special Forces Commander Sung-ho Yoon was training a different kind of soldier. His mission was to get human forces inside Vengeful territory. He needed people who could infiltrate alien ships and rescue the remaining women. The mission is simple, he told his volunteers. Get in, find our people, get them out. Most of you will probably die. Anyone who wants to leave can do so now. Nobody left. 67 people had volunteered for the suicide mission. All of them had lost wives, daughters, sisters, or mothers to the Vaketh. The oldest volunteer was Dong-hyun Chai. He was 67 years old and had lost his daughter on Hanbit 7. "Sir, you might be too old for this mission," Sung-ho told him. "My daughter was 26 years old," Dong-hyun replied. "She had just gotten married. She was going to have children. The aliens took her and probably killed her. I do not care if I die as long as I get to kill some of them first." While the military prepared for war, Intelligence Director Yunbi was working on a different kind of mission. She needed information about Vaketh territory. She needed to know where the women were being held. Agent Ji-hoon Bae volunteered for the most dangerous assignment. He would pose as an alien trader and try to get inside Vaketh space. He had studied alien languages for 15 years and could pass for several different species if he wore the right disguises. "The risks are enormous," Yunbi told him. "If they discover you are human, they will kill you immediately." "If I can find where they are keeping our women, it will be worth it," Ji-hoon replied. Using a captured alien transport ship, Ji-hoon began his journey into Vaketh territory. He carried fake identification papers and a story about being a trader from a distant galaxy. His job was to find the research stations where human women were being held. Back on Earth, codebreaker Nari Song was working on intercepting Vaketh communications. She had been listening to alien radio signals for 2 months, trying to understand their language and decode their military messages. "I think I found something," she told Intelligence Director Yunbi one morning. "The Vaketh are talking about moving their research operations to a more secure location. They mentioned something called Research Station Keth 9. "Where is it?" Yunbi asked. "I am not sure yet, but they talk about it like it is very important. They mention high-value subjects and genetic experiments. Sir, I think this might be where they are keeping most of our women." President Jae-won visited the weapons factories every week. He wanted to see the progress and talk to the workers. Each visit made him more angry. These people were working 20-hour days to build weapons for a war they might not survive. At the Mars weapons facility, Gun-woo showed him the new Fury missiles. These can punch through Vaketh shields during their recharge cycle, Gun-woo explained. Each missile carries enough electromagnetic energy to disable a ship the size of a city. "How many do we have?" President Jae-won asked. "We can build 50 per day. In 6 months, we will have 9,000 missiles. Will it be enough?" Gun-woo looked tired. He had not seen his family in weeks. "Sir, we are building weapons to fight an enemy that has been preparing for war for over a century. We have 6 months. I do not know if anything will be enough." On Colony New Seoul, families were saying goodbye to their men. Almost every husband, son, and brother was joining the war effort. The women and elderly people would have to keep the colonies running while the men went to fight. Old woman Soo-jin Lee hugged her grandson before he left for military training. "Come back to us," she said. "I will try, grandmother. But if I do not come back, make sure everyone remembers why we fought." Admiral Kyung-soo received daily reports from all human worlds. The numbers were impressive. 3 million people had volunteered for military service. Every human colony was contributing resources. Factories were producing weapons and ships at rates nobody thought possible. But the Admiral knew the truth. The Vaketh Empire had 2,000 ships and 200 worlds. Humanity had managed to build or convert 400 ships and had 50 worlds. Even with superior weapons, the odds were still terrible. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Agent Ji-hoon, operating deep in Vaketh territory, sent a coded transmission to Earth. Found the main research facility. Location coordinates attached. Estimate 2,000 human subjects still alive. Heavy security. Recommend immediate rescue mission before they are moved to more secure location. Intelligence Director Yun Bi brought the message to President Jae-won immediately. Sir, this might be our only chance to save some of the women. If they move the subjects to a more secure facility, we might never find them. President Jae-won looked at the coordinates. The facility was deep inside Vaketh space, surrounded by enemy ships and defense stations. How many ships would we need for a rescue mission? Admiral Kyung-soo checked his charts. At least 100 ships, sir. It would be our entire available fleet. If we fail, we will have no ships left to defend Earth. And if we do nothing, 2,000 women will die in alien experiments, President Jae-won replied. He thought about Hye-jin's transmission, about the women being killed in genetic experiments, about his own daughter working on a colony that might be attacked next. Prepare the fleet, he ordered. We are going to get our people back. 3 days later, every available human warship gathered at the edge of Vaketh space. 400 ships carrying the hopes of all humanity. Most of the crews were volunteers, who had lost family members to the aliens. They were not professional soldiers, but they had something the Vaketh did not understand. They had nothing left to lose. Admiral Kyung-soo stood on the bridge of the flagship Earth's Fury and opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. Today we begin Operation Retribution. We are outnumbered 10 to 1. Our ships are smaller than theirs. Many of us will not return home, but we are not fighting for glory or conquest. We are fighting to bring our families home. We are fighting because some things are worth dying for. The fleet moved into Vaketh space. The war had begun. The human fleet entered Vaketh space like a storm of metal and fury. Admiral Kyung-soo watched from his command ship as 400 human vessels spread out in attack formation. Each ship carried crews who had lost family members to the aliens. Each captain knew this might be their last battle. The first Vaketh patrol ships appeared on the sensors after 6 hours of travel. 3 large alien vessels moved to intercept the human fleet. Commander Vengeful himself led the patrol from his flagship. Unknown vessels, you have entered Vaketh territory without permission, the alien commander transmitted. Turn back or be destroyed. Admiral Kyung-soo opened a communication channel to respond. This is Admiral Kyung-soo Han of the Earth Defense Fleet. We have come for our women. Return them now, or we will take them. Vengeful laughed on the transmission. Humans. Your females belong to the Vaketh Empire now. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Leave now, and we will not destroy your pathetic ships. No, Admiral Kyung-soo replied. Today you learn what happens when you steal from humanity, the A. Battle began immediately. The Vaketh ships fired their plasma weapons at the human fleet. The energy beams were powerful enough to cut human ships in half. But Gunwoo's new weapons were ready. Elite pilot Hae-won Kim led the first attack squadron. Her small fighter ships moved fast between the larger vessels. She watched her sensors carefully, waiting for the moment when the Vaketh shields would flicker. All fighters, wait for my signal, she transmitted to her squadron. Remember, we only get one chance. The Vaketh shields flickered for 0.3 seconds. Now, Hae-won shouted. 50 Fury missiles launched at the same time. The electromagnetic weapons hit the alien ships just as their shields dropped. The results were immediate and devastating. All 3 Vaketh ships lost power and began to drift in space. Target the weapon systems, Admiral Kyung-soo ordered. No prisoners. The human ships opened fire with every weapon they had. The Vaketh vessels exploded one by one. Commander Vengeful managed to send one final transmission before his ship was destroyed. You have made a terrible mistake, humans. The Empire will crush you for this. Admiral Kyung-soo smiled coldly. The Empire can try. While the main fleet fought patrol ships, Special Forces Commander Sung-ho Yoon led a smaller group toward the research station. His mission was to rescue the remaining human women before they could be moved or killed. Agent Ji-hoon had provided detailed maps of the facility. Research Station Keth 9 was a massive complex with heavy defenses. Getting inside would require sacrifice. Remember the plan, Sung-ho told his team. We get in fast, find our people, and get out. If anyone gets left behind, keep fighting until the end. Dong-hyun Chai, the 67-year-old volunteer, piloted one of the assault ships. His hands were steady as he flew toward the alien station. He thought about his daughter and what the aliens had probably done to her. The station's defense systems opened fire as soon as the human ships appeared. Energy beams and missile launchers tried to stop the rescue mission. 3 human ships were destroyed immediately. "This is for my daughter," Dong-hyun said as he crashed his ship directly into the station's main weapons system. The explosion created a gap in the defenses. "Go, go, go!" Sung-ho shouted. The remaining assault ships flew through the gap and attached themselves to the station's hull. Human soldiers in spacesuits cut through the alien metal with plasma torches. Inside the station, the rescue team found horrors beyond imagination. Hundreds of examination rooms filled with alien medical equipment. Computer files showing genetic experiments on thousands of human women. Most of the records ended with the notation, "Subject deceased." "Find the survivors," Sung-ho ordered. "Check every room." They found 43 human women still alive in holding cells. Most of them were unconscious from alien drugs. Others were too weak to walk. All of them showed signs of medical procedures and torture. Woo-bin Lee, the former security chief from Hanbit 7, found a woman he recognized. So Young Choi was barely alive in a medical chair surrounded by alien equipment. Tubes and wires connected her body to machines that were slowly extracting her blood. "So Young, can you hear me?" Woo-bin asked as he carefully removed the alien devices. Her eyes opened slowly. "Woo-bin? Is this real?" "Yes, we are here to take you home." "The others," So Young whispered. "They took so many others. Most of them are dead. The aliens, they do not see us as people. We are just things to be used." The rescue team carried the survivors to their ships as fast as possible. But the station's emergency systems had activated. Vaketh soldiers were coming to stop the rescue. "We need more time," Sung-ho said into his radio. "The survivors cannot move quickly." Admiral Kyung-soo heard the transmission from his command ship. He was fighting 6 more Vaketh vessels that had arrived to defend the station. "How much time do you need?" 10 more minutes. The Admiral looked at his tactical display. More alien ships were coming. His fleet was outnumbered 3-1 now. But 10 minutes was 10 minutes. "All ships, protect the rescue mission, whatever the cost." Hae-won led her fighter squadron against the new Vaketh ships. Her pilots flew their small vessels directly into the paths of alien plasma beams. When their ships were damaged beyond repair, they crashed them into enemy vessels. "If we die, we take them with us," she transmitted to her squadron. One by one, human ships were destroyed defending the rescue mission, but they bought the time that was needed. Sung-ho's team got all 43 survivors onto transport ships and began their escape from the station. The Vaketh commander in charge of the facility sent an angry transmission to the human fleet. "You have stolen property of the Vaketh Empire. Return our test subjects immediately," Admiral Kyung-soo responded while his ship fired missiles at the alien station. "They are not your property. They are our people." and you are going to pay for what you did to them. The human fleet destroyed Research Station Keth 9 completely. Every alien scientist and guard died in the explosions. The rescue ships escaped, with their precious cargo of survivors. But the cost was enormous. 160 human ships had been destroyed. 20,000 crew members were dead. The fleet that limped back toward human space was less than half its original size. On the flagship, Admiral Kyung-soo received a transmission from the Vaketh Empire. It was Commander Thek Vol speaking from a new ship. Somehow he had survived the destruction of his previous vessel. "Humans, you have made a grave error," the alien commander said. "You have attacked the mighty Vaketh Empire. We offer you one chance to surrender. Return our stolen property and submit to our rule. In exchange, we will kill you quickly instead of slowly." Admiral Kyung-soo was tired and angry. He had lost half his fleet to save 43 women. Thousands of good people had died, but they had sent a message to the aliens. "Vaketh Empire," he replied. "We do not surrender. We do not submit. We do not negotiate with kidnappers and murderers. You took our women and tortured them to death. You thought we would accept our losses and do nothing. You were wrong." He paused and looked at the tactical display showing the damaged human fleet. "This was just the beginning. We are coming for you, all of you, and we will not stop until every one of you is dead." The transmission ended. The first battle was over. Humanity had rescued some of their people and proved they could fight the Vaketh Empire. But the war was far from finished. On Earth, President Jae-won received the battle reports with mixed feelings. They had saved 43 women, but thousands more were still missing. They had destroyed some alien ships, but the Empire still had most of their fleet. "What do we do now?" Intelligence Director Yunbi asked. President Jae-won looked at the reports of the rescued women. So Young and the other survivors were being treated in military hospitals. Their testimonies about the alien experiments were even worse than anyone had imagined. "Now we build more ships," he said. "We train more soldiers, we develop better weapons, and we make the Vaketh Empire pay for every single woman they took from us." The first blood had been spilled. Both sides now knew this would be a war with no mercy and no surrender. 2 years after the first battle, humanity had become something the galaxy had never seen before. Every human world was now a weapons factory. Every human ship was built for war. Every human adult was either a soldier or supporting the war effort. Chief Engineer Gunwoo Park stood in the largest shipyard humanity had ever built. Around him, thousands of workers assembled the newest weapons of war. These were not rescue ships or exploration vessels. These were instruments of destruction designed for one purpose: killing Vaketh. "The ghost ships are ready," Gunwoo reported to Admiral Kyung-soo. "Each one carries enough antimatter to destroy a planet." The ghost ships were unmanned vessels, controlled by artificial intelligence. They looked like normal human transport ships, but inside they carried massive bombs. The plan was simple: send them into Vaketh territory pretending to be supply ships, then detonate them near alien fleets. "How many do we have?" Admiral Kyung-soo asked. 500, sir. Enough to destroy half their navy if we can get them close enough." Dr. Mi-young Lee joined them in the shipyard. She was a biological weapons expert who had been working on something special for 2 years. Her laboratory had been studying tissue samples from dead Vaketh soldiers. "The biological weapons are also ready," she reported. "We have developed a virus that attacks Vaketh DNA specifically. It will not harm humans or any other species." Admiral Kyung-soo looked uncomfortable. A virus that kills only Vaketh? Yes, sir. It spreads through their air systems and kills within hours. We have tested it on captured alien equipment. It is completely effective. The Admiral had fought in many wars, but he had never used biological weapons before. Are we sure about this? Dr. Myung's face was hard. Sir, they tortured and murdered 8,000 of our women. They saw them as laboratory animals. I see no reason to show mercy to a species that shows no mercy to others. Meanwhile, on the planet New Busan, Special Forces Commander Yun-Woo Jang was training a new kind of soldier. His death squads were not meant to capture territory or defend positions. They were meant to kill Vaketh civilians. The aliens do not understand total war, Hyun-Woo told his soldiers. They think war is about armies fighting armies. They are wrong. War is about making your enemies suffer until they give up. His soldiers were volunteers who had lost family members to the Vaketh. They were not interested in honorable combat or military glory. They wanted revenge. We will attack their cities, their farms, their schools, Hyun-Woo continued. We will make them afraid to sleep at night. We will show them what happens when you hurt humanity. The Vaketh Empire was beginning to understand that they had made a serious mistake. Commander Thek Vol stood in his war room looking at reports from across Vaketh space. 17 alien worlds had been attacked by human forces. 6 worlds had been completely destroyed. How is this possible? Thek Vol asked his advisors. These humans had barely 200 ships 2 years ago. Now they seem to be everywhere. His intelligence officer, a younger Vaketh named Mek Tao, showed him the latest reports. Sir, the humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered before. They do not try to capture our worlds. They simply destroy everything and leave. What do you mean, everything? Military bases, cities, farms, factories. They kill soldiers and civilians equally. They seem to want nothing except our destruction. Thek Vol studied the reports. The human attacks followed no pattern that Vaketh military doctrine could understand. Sometimes they attacked important military targets. Sometimes they attacked random farming worlds with no strategic value. And our attempts at negotiation? The humans refuse all contact, sir. They will not respond to surrender offers or peace talks. When we captured some of their soldiers, they killed themselves rather than be taken prisoner. Back on Earth, President Jae-won was aging rapidly under the stress of leading a total war. His hair had turned completely white and deep lines marked his face, but his resolve had only grown stronger over 2 years of fighting. What is our status? He asked during his daily war briefing. Admiral Kyung-soo gave him the numbers. We now have 800 warships operational. Our weapons production has increased by 300%. Every human colony is contributing to the war effort. And the buy. Vaketh? They have lost approximately 400 ships and 23 worlds. But, sir, they still have more ships than we do, and their technology is still superior to ours in many ways. Intelligence Director Yunbi had more encouraging news. Sir, we are receiving reports of rebellion in the Vaketh Empire. Some of their subject species are taking advantage of their weakness to declare independence. Good, President Jae-won said. The more enemies they have, the better for us. He turned to look at a wall covered with photographs. These were pictures of all the women who had been taken by the Vaketh. 8,000 faces looking back at him. Most of them were certainly dead by now. Any word from our infiltration teams? Special Operations Director Sung-ho nodded. Yes, sir. We have confirmed the locations of 3 more research facilities. But, sir, Our agents report that most of the human subjects appear to have been killed. The Vaketh stopped their experiments and executed the remaining women when the war began. President J1 felt his anger grow even hotter. The aliens had murdered their captives rather than return them. They had killed helpless women rather than face the consequences of their actions. Then there is no reason to show restraint, he said. Admiral, prepare Operation Thunderfall. Operation Thunderfall was humanity's most ambitious attack yet. 1,000 ships would strike at the heart of Vaketh space. Their target was the Vaketh Military Academy world where alien officers were trained. Sir, Admiral Kyung-soo said, carefully, the Academy world has a population of 50 million Vaketh. Most of them are civilians. The Vaketh do not recognize the difference between soldiers and civilians, President Jae-won replied. They targeted our women who were farmers, doctors and teachers. They saw them all as acceptable targets. So do we. 3 weeks later, the largest human fleet ever assembled moved into Vaketh space. Elite pilot Haewon Kim, now a squadron commander, led the fighter escort. She had survived 14 major battles and shot down 36 enemy ships. The Vaketh Academy world was heavily defended. 600 alien warships protected the planet where their military elite were trained. The battle that followed lasted for 18 hours and could be seen from 3 star systems away. Human ghost ships pretended to be supply vessels until they got close to the Vaketh fleet. Then they exploded with the force of small stars. 30 alien ships were destroyed instantly. Biological weapons were deployed in the planet's atmosphere. Within hours, every Vaketh on the surface was dead from the engineered virus. The proud military academy became a graveyard. When the battle ended, the academy world was a burned wasteland. 50 million Vaketh were dead. The human fleet had lost only 40 ships. Commander Vengeful received reports of the attack while meeting with his war council. For the first time in his military career, he felt something he had never experienced before: fear. They are not trying to defeat us, he told his officers. They are trying to exterminate us. Sir, perhaps we should consider surrender, suggested Mektow. Vengeful turned on his subordinate angrily. The Vaketh Empire does not surrender to inferior species. With respect, sir, these humans do not seem inferior anymore. Vengeful looked at the tactical displays showing Vaketh losses. 29 worlds destroyed, 800 ships lost, millions of Vaketh dead. The humans had transformed from a minor colonial power into the galaxy's most dangerous military force in just 2 years. Send a message to the human leadership, he ordered. Tell them we are willing to discuss terms. The message reached President Jae-won 3 days later. Commander Vengeful offered to return any remaining human prisoners in exchange for a ceasefire. He promised that the Vaketh would never attack human territory again. President Jae-won read the message while standing in the memorial garden that had been built for the murdered women. 8,000 names were carved into black stone. Fresh flowers were placed there every day by families who would never see their loved ones again. Send. This reply, he told his aide, the Vaketh Empire took our women for experiments. They tortured them. They murdered them. They started this war. Now they want to end it because they are losing. Tell them this. There will be no ceasefire. There will be no negotiation. There will be no mercy. We will stop fighting when every Vaketh in the galaxy is dead. The war continued. Human fleets struck deeper into Vaketh territory. Alien worlds burned one by one. The mighty Vaketh Empire that had dominated space for centuries was slowly being destroyed by a species they had considered weak and unimportant. In the depths of space, the real battle was just beginning. Humanity had proven they could fight the Vaketh Empire. Now they would prove they could destroy it completely. 5 years after the first Vaketh attack on Hanbit 7, the galaxy had learned to fear humanity. The war was ending, but not with peace talks or surrender ceremonies. It was ending with the complete destruction of the Vaketh Empire. Commander Thek Vol stood on the bridge of his last remaining flagship, watching the final battle begin. Around him, the remnants of the once mighty Vaketh fleet prepared to defend their homeworld. Only 300 ships remained from an empire that had once commanded 2,000 vessels. In the distance, the human fleet approached like a wall of death. Every ship in human space had come for this final battle. 800 warships carrying the combined fury of an entire species. They had come to finish what the Vaketh had started 5 years ago. Admiral Kyung-Soo, now wearing the scars of dozens of battles, stood on the bridge of his flagship Earth's Vengeance. His hair had turned completely gray, and his left arm was artificial after losing the original in a Vaketh plasma attack. But his hatred for the aliens had only grown stronger with each passing year. "All ships, this is Admiral Kyung-Soo," he transmitted to the human fleet. "Today, we end this war. Today, we end the Vaketh Empire. Today, we make them pay for every woman they took from us." Elite pilot Hye-Won Kim, now a fleet commander herself, led 200 fighter ships toward the alien defensive line. She had become humanity's most decorated pilot, with 96 confirmed kills. Her ship bore the names of all the women from her home colony who had been taken by the Vaketh. President Jae-won watched the battle from Earth's command center. 5 years of war had aged him 20 years. His wife barely recognized the cold, hard man he had become. But he would not rest until every alien who had hurt humanity was dead. "Sir," Intelligence Director Yunbi reported, "long-range sensors confirm this is the last major Vaketh fleet. After today, only scattered groups will remain." "Good," President Jae-won replied. "When this battle is over, we hunt down every last one of them." The battle began with the Vaketh desperately trying to protect their homeworld. Their plasma weapons and energy shields were still superior to human technology. But humanity had learned to fight with tactics the aliens could not understand. Chief Engineer Gunwoo's ghost ships moved forward first, disguised as supply vessels. The Vaketh, desperate for any advantage, allowed them to approach before realizing their mistake. 50 unmanned ships exploded simultaneously, destroying 100 alien vessels in the opening moments of the battle. Phase 2, Admiral Kyung-Soo ordered. Dr. Mi-young's biological weapons were deployed throughout the Vaketh home system. Specially designed viruses that targeted alien DNA began spreading through their ships and space stations. Within hours, thousands of Vaketh were dying from diseases that killed only their species. But Commander Thek Vol had one final card to play. He opened a communication channel to the human fleet. "Admiral Kyung-Soo, I request permission to surrender. The Vaketh Empire offers complete capitulation. We will abandon all our remaining worlds. We will accept any punishment you deem appropriate. We will serve humanity in whatever way you choose." The entire human fleet stopped firing. For a moment, space was silent except for the crackling of damaged ships and the distant explosions of dying alien vessels. Admiral Kyung-soo's response was broadcast across the galaxy. Commander Vengeful, 5 years ago, your forces attacked our peaceful colonies. You took 8,000 of our women. You tortured them in genetic experiments. You murdered them when they served no further purpose. When we begged for their return, you laughed at us. The Admiral paused, looking at a photo of his own daughter who had been taken from Colony New Seoul. You had your chance for mercy when you chose to take our women. You discarded it when you chose to experiment on them. You lost it forever when you chose to murder them. There will be no surrender. There will be no survival. Today, your species dies. The final assault began immediately. Human ships, armed with 5 years of advanced weaponry, tore through the remaining Vaketh defenses. Fighter squadrons led by HFY swept through alien formations like avenging angels. Special forces units commanded by Hyun-woo landed on the Vaketh homeworld itself. Their mission was not to capture territory, but to ensure no alien survived the day. They moved through Vaketh cities with flamethrowers and biological weapons, killing everything they found. Dae-ho Kim, the former colony administrator who had lost his wife Hyejin in the first attack, now commanded a battle group assigned to destroy the planet's orbital stations. He had spent 5 years training for this moment. "This is for Hyejin," he said, as his ships fired planet-killer weapons at the Vaketh homeworld. "This is for So Young. This is for all of them." The weapons worked exactly as designed. The planet's atmosphere began to burn. Oceans boiled away. Continents cracked and melted. Within 6 hours, the Vaketh homeworld was a dead rock floating in space. Commander Vengeful's ship was one of the last to be destroyed. As human fighters swarmed around his flagship, he sent one final transmission. "You have become monsters," he told the human fleet. "History will remember humanity as a species that chose genocide over justice." Admiral Kyung-soo's reply was cold and final. "History will remember the Vaketh as a species that learned too late not to hurt human women." Vengeful's ship exploded moments later. The last major Vaketh commander was dead. The battle lasted 14 hours. When it ended, the Vaketh homeworld was a smoking ruin, and their fleet was completely destroyed. A few alien ships managed to escape into deep space, but the Vaketh Empire was finished forever. Across the galaxy, other alien species watched the destruction with a mixture of awe and terror. The humans had not conquered the Vaketh Empire. They had simply erased it from existence. On Earth, President Jae-won addressed the human colonies for the last time as a wartime leader. "Citizens of humanity, today the war ends. The Vaketh Empire is no more. Their homeworld burns. Their fleets are destroyed. Their people are scattered to the far corners of space, never to threaten anyone again." He paused and looked at the memorial wall containing 8,000 names. "We did not choose to become what we are today. The Vaketh made us into instruments of their own destruction. They took our innocence and murdered them. They forced us to become something terrible and relentless. We regret the necessity, but not the outcome." 5 years later, Dae-ho Kim stood once again on the front porch of his house on Hanbit 7. The colony had been rebuilt, bigger and better than before. New families had come to replace those who died in the war. Children played in the streets where Vaketh energy beams had once killed their fathers. But some things had changed forever. Every human colony now had massive defense systems. Every human ship carried weapons capable of destroying planets. Every human child learned about the Vaketh War in school. So young Choi, one of the few women to survive Vakith captivity, had become the director of colonial defense. She worked with other survivors to help people understand what had been done to them and why humanity had responded with such fury. "The galaxy is different now," she told groups of children during her educational tours. "Other alien species keep their distance from human space. They have learned that humanity will forgive many things, but some things we will not." Wu Bin Lee, now the planetary security chief, maintained the memorial garden where the names of all the murdered women were carved in stone. Every day he placed fresh flowers there and read the names aloud: Haye Jin Park, Young Mi Seo, Jin Ai Yoon, Su Bin Kang. The list went on for 8,000 names. 8,000 reasons why humanity had become the galaxy's most feared species. In the depths of space, scattered groups of surviving Vakith lived as refugees and outcasts. No alien species would give them shelter. No world would accept them as immigrants. They had learned too late that some enemies cannot be defeated, only destroyed. The few Vakith who remained alive told stories to their children about the terrible humans who had ended their civilization. They warned them never to approach human space. They taught them that humanity was a species that remembered every wrong and forgave nothing. On Earth, the presidential palace displayed a new motto carved into its main entrance. "They took our innocence. We took their future. Let the ye galaxy remember." President Jae-won, now an old man, spent his final years writing the official history of the Vakith War. His book ended with these words: "We were explorers and farmers, teachers and doctors, mothers and fathers. We wanted only to live in peace among the stars." The Vakith Empire chose to see us as resources to be harvested and experimented upon. They discovered that humanity, when pushed beyond all limits, becomes something they could never have imagined. We became their extinction. The war was over. The Vakith Empire was gone. And across the galaxy, every alien species had learned the same lesson: never hurt human women. The price is too high for any civilization to pay. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy through military might or technological superiority. They had become its dominant power through pure, relentless vengeance. Other species now measured their actions by one simple question: what would the humans do if we crossed them? Thou? Answer was always the same: they would not stop until you were gone forever.